You know, in development, we're all looking for that big win, right? That great return on investment. So today, we're going to dig into a really powerful way to get just that. How to build one single, high-performance service that can talk to two completely different audiences at the same time.
So, how do we get there? Well, it all starts with a classic problem, a fundamental trade-off that I'm sure you've bumped into. It's that constant tug-of-war between raw speed and easy access.
Okay, so here's the dilemma. On one hand, you've got your internal services, all the little pieces of your application talking to each other behind the scenes. They need to be incredibly fast. But on the other hand, you've got the whole world trying to connect through web browsers and mobile apps. They need something that's super easy to access and universally understood. And for ages, that's meant building two totally separate things.
So, let's talk about that first part, the need for speed. And for that, we need to introduce the specialist in the room, the absolute champion of internal communication, gRPC.
As you might guess from the name, gRPC started out at Google. It's a remote procedure call framework, which is really just a fancy way of saying it lets one service trigger a function on another service like it's right there in the same code. It is built from the ground up for one thing and one thing only, performance. And it gets that performance by using the newer, much faster HTTP/2 protocol to send these tiny, efficient binary messages.
So, where does all this incredible speed come from? Well, first off, it's using HTTP/2, which is just way more efficient than what most of the web has traditionally used. And second, instead of sending text like JSON back and forth, it sends a super compact binary format. It's kind of like sending a tiny optimized zip file instead of a huge rambling email. All this makes it the perfect choice for internal services that are constantly chatting with each other.
Now, what makes all this possible? The secret sauce really is something called protocol buffers, or protobuf for short. The best way to think about it is as a rock-solid, non-negotiable contract. It's a file that lays out the law. These are the methods you can call, and this is exactly what the data has to look like. And the coolest part? It's completely language neutral. So your C# service can talk to a Ruby client or a Go client without a single problem.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, wow, gRPC is crazy fast and powerful. Why aren't we using this for everything, like for our web apps? And that's a fantastic question, because it points to a major roadblock.
And there it is, plain and simple. Your everyday web browser, Chrome, Firefox, you name it, can't just pick up the phone and call a gRPC service. It literally does not speak the language.
This is really where you can see the disconnect. The gRPC service is zipping along on the HTTP/2 superhighway, speaking in compact binary. But the web browser is stuck on the old roads of HTTP/1.x, and it's expecting to read plain old text like JSON. It's like one is speaking in super efficient shorthand, and the other is waiting for a formal letter. They're just not on the same page at all.
So how on earth do we fix this? What if there was a bridge, or maybe a universal translator, to cross that protocol gap? Well, that's exactly what .NET 7 brought to the table, with a really elegant solution. It's called JSON transcoding, and honestly, it feels a bit like magic. It takes that high-performance gRPC service you've already built, and with just a tiny bit of extra information, it automatically creates a standard, boring, totally normal RESTful API right on top of it, one that speaks plain old JSON that any browser can understand. And the best part? It's surprisingly simple. You do the hard work once. You write your service contract using protobuf. Then, you just add a couple of little notes, annotations that say, hey, this function here, that's a GET request to this web address. You build your project and that's it. The framework handles the rest, and suddenly you have two APIs from one single codebase.
So, when you put all this together, what do you get? You get what I like to call the 2-for-1 API. It is, quite literally, the best of both worlds.
I love this quote from Les Jackson's work because it just nails it. You effectively have one service and two ways to call it. You build it once, you maintain it once, but it serves two completely different masters.
And this is what that looks like in practice. You've got your one .NET service at the center. Your internal services can hit it using that lightning-fast gRPC endpoint. And at the very same time, your web app or your mobile client can talk to that exact same service using a regular REST and JSON endpoint. No more two sets of code, no more two deployment pipelines. It's all one thing.
And that is why this is such a game changer. You end up with a single source of truth for all your logic. No more trying to keep two codebases in sync.
Your internal stuff gets the maximum performance it needs, while your external clients get the universal compatibility they need. It's an absolutely massive return on your development investment.
And that, right there, brings us full circle. We're all looking for that amazing ROI. By building your service once and letting it serve two different audiences, you're not just being clever, you're solving a huge architectural headache in the most efficient way possible.
So it really leaves you with a pretty big question to chew on. For any service that has to talk to both internal systems and the outside world, could this be the beginning of the end for building separate web APIs? It's definitely some serious food for thought.